I say that all the time. You're not at work because you want to be at work. You're at work because situations like bills mandate and necessitate you being at work. So no one's actually there by choice. That being said, the relationship can only be one of convenience. It's one of circumstance. The people at work that you are friends with, you're only friends with them because y'all all hate the same people. You know what I'm talking. Your work friend, y'all sit and talk about the boss. You talk about that's what your work friend is. That's not an authentic relationship. Everybody know you get too close to the coworker. Next thing you know, you come in on Monday and half the place know your business. It's not fun.
One of the biggest mistakes that you can make in the workplace is to assume that all of your work colleagues are your friends. The reason you even know your work colleagues is because you've all been brought together by circumstance, and that circumstance is work. Majority of the time, work relationships are superficial at best. The primary reason we go to work is to get a paycheck. If you were to remove work out of the equation, you'd probably have no reason to speak to your work colleagues ever again. These are 3 things that I'd personally not do around my work colleagues, because if you do, it can land you in a whole load of problems. Number 1, oversharing. When it comes to your love life, health, political views, religious views, and finances, I would highly recommend you don't discuss these things, most especially in depth with your work colleagues. In the workplace, there are many animals in human form. When you tell someone personal details about yourself, just know that it's safe to assume that more than half of your workplace know about those details you shared. Number 2, never talk about your boss or another colleague to anyone. Even if your boss is the spawn of the devil, Grim Reaper, Judas Iscariot, P. Diddy, don't say things you don't like about your boss or another colleague to somebody in the workplace, because it will surely come back to bite you. Some people, work is their life. I'm talking about they live and breathe that job, okay? These type of work colleagues are the most dangerous. If you go and give them ammo by telling them things you don't like about your boss or another colleague, if they don't like you, they will throw you under the bus and make sure they get rid of you. Number 3, don't engage in gossip. I think this one is self-explanatory. Work colleagues that will sit down and gossip about another work colleague to you, most especially when you've seen the gossiper and the person that they're talking about getting along and having a good time, will do the exact same thing to you when you're not around. In the workplace, the walls have ears. People are crafty. Listen, in your communal area, you will see people pretending as though they're minding their business. They've got AirPods on. They're not listening to music. They're listening to what you're saying. That's how crafty people are. The workplace is cruel. People will have you guilty by association just because you were there in the presence when they were gossiping about somebody. They'll rope you in. I'm not saying you can't make friends in a workplace. You absolutely can. But rarely will you find a true friend in the workplace.
It's a mistake you learned the hard way that you can now help people to avoid.
Do not trust your coworkers. This was a lesson I learned very early on. Don't have them on your social media. Don't invite them into your personal life in any way, shape, or form. When it comes to the workplace, at least one of your coworkers will try to screw you over if they are given the chance. And I never understood this, because in my mind, I go to work, I do my work, and I go home. But for other people, they are very fixated on their coworkers. And the moment they find someone or something they don't like about a person, in their mind, they're like, there needs to be conflict. And they will do everything in their power to create conflict between you and them, or you and management. And what that usually looks like is either they are passive aggressive with you, or they make aggressive comments to you, or they complain about you to your manager about just anything and everything they can to make it look like you are a problem employee. Every job that I have ever had, I have either seen this happen to another person, or I have had to protect myself from someone trying to do it to me. And this is why I keep to myself in the workplace. There is an expression, and it goes, familiarity breeds contempt. And that means the more familiar someone is to you, the more they're going to find things about you that they don't like. And in the workplace, that means they're going to create conflict. And so keep your relationships strictly business in the workplace.
Your coworkers are not your friends. Keep it cute, but keep your distance.
Now, some may disagree with this because there are people who have made great friendships from their coworkers. But I totally agree. Your coworkers are not your friends, especially in the world of healthcare. Well, I can speak for healthcare because I'm a nurse. But some of these nurses are so shady, and they will literally roll you under the bus so quickly any chance they get, especially if you're a travel nurse or a new nurse. Now, I'm about to say something that a lot of people do not say out loud, but especially if you are another race than the majority on the unit. But that's a conversation for another day. Oh, and not only nurses, the other healthcare workers are also shady too.
The worst kind of coworkers are those ones who play nice. Oh, they're sweet to you, right to your face. But behind the scenes, they don't really like you. Oh, and they bash you and they talk about you. Oh, those are the worst kind of coworkers. And a lot of times, those are often your managers, your team leads, your supervisors. You have to be mindful of those coworkers, right? You think everything's sweet. But behind closed doors, they don't like you. Behind closed doors, they're bashing you. Behind closed doors, they're throwing rocks and hiding their hands. When they say coworkers are not your friends, get your money and go home, it is not a drill. It is not a drill. Even if those managers and those supervisors tell you, hey, if you have any questions, please be sure to ask questions. You know, you can come to me. They'll say that, right? And then as soon as you go ask them questions and they help you and you walk off, they're bashing you to the next supervisor or coworker. Oh, they ask too many questions and they just don't know nothing. They just... Also, for example, they'll say, you know, you can come to me about anything. You know, you can come talk to me if something's going on with you. Never do that. Never do that. I made that mistake one time. So I was telling her about an issue I was having with a coworker, right? And this was a manager. I was revealing to her an issue I was having with a coworker, thinking that I can confide in her. This is a manager, right? It's going to stay in the office, even though that's what she said to me. You know, it's going to stay in the office. Why? She went back and told the coworker what I said about her. Everything. Let me tell you something. I don't care what position they have. Don't trust them. The worst kind of manager, coworker, and person in general is the ones that smile in your face, but they really don't like you. That's a snake. That is a snake. Don't trust them. Get your money and go home. Get your money and go home.
Work friends are crucial for your health.
She's not talking to us. She's not talking to us. Your coworkers are not your friends. You can be nice to them, you can be cordial to them, but they are not your friends. Act accordingly.
Mistakes that you should never make at your workplace. Never think your colleagues are your friends. They are not. They are doing a job. When push comes to shove, they will save their skin and push you under the bus. You should never reveal your personal life to your colleagues. Don't tell them your plans, your investments, or your next big move. Only a fool reveals secrets. If you disagree with your company policies, never share them with your colleagues. Please keep it to yourself because everything you share can and will be used against you. Respect your work and put your best into it, not into others.
Your coworkers are not your friends. So stop oversharing personal information at work. Don't tell your coworkers that you're looking for another job. Be careful about sharing with your coworkers that you hate your manager. Do not feel pressure to share with your coworkers or your manager why you're taking a sick day or what you're doing on your vacation time. Girl, it is super important to have proper boundaries at work. The last thing you want is the information that you share to come back to bite you. Quick tip, before you share personal information, ask yourself, if this information ever got out, could it have negative consequences? Listen, we all have personal brands at work, which is simply what people know our value to be. It's critical that we not only recognize that we have a brand, but that we also fiercely protect it. So don't let your guard down at work. Be careful who you trust and what you share. Follow the Biz Layer for more career tips for Black professional women.